So let's use our new function. We go to our payment view, and on appear, after we fetch all payments, we want to say view model, and we want to use calculate days. Let's run. Oh, there is no point of running. We are not going to see the display here. So we need to use our expected to finish on here instead of this. So we say view model expected to finish on. Let's run this again. And let's go here. So we took 1000 on 30 June, which is we took on 1st June, and we did a few payments. That says expected to finish on 25 July. So we are actually falling behind our schedule because our due date is June 30. Let's add some payments. Let's add, I don't know, 499. That says expected to finish June 14. Very good, we are getting there. Let's add another one, maybe, I don't know, 59. Now with June 13. So if I delete, okay, the 0 pops up and this doesn't get refreshed. We're going to fix that, don't worry. So our calculation is also working. The next thing would be good to which one we should do? We should do the bar, or we should fix the formatting here. Let's do the formatting here, and then we will do the bar. So back to our model view. We need another function that is going to do some separation for us. So we have an array of these payments, but in order to separate them into sections for each year and the number of payments, etc., we are going to create a custom object. Let's create a struct. Call this payment object. And this conforms to equitable protocol, and we will have var section name is a string. We promise to provide it. Var section objects. This is array of payment objects, and we promise to provide this as well. And var section total is equals to it's not equals, it's type of double, and this is also compulsory. Basically what we are doing, let's jump to our ready application. So for us to calculate how much each section will have paid total, we need, and what payments it will have inside, we're going to use this payment object. So now whatever we are displaying is our payment object. We don't display any longer any payment. What we will do, we will take payments, we will sort them out into payment object, and each payment object will have a small array of its section objects. So our section name will be this part. The name will be called after each year, and it will have a total amount, this variable, which will be the total of the section paid. And then it will have an array of payments, which will be in that section as payment object. So this is how we, or the idea what we are going to do. So let's, I don't know, after our calculate total, let's write another function, and I will call this separate by year. Okay, and before we can use, we're going to go on the top, and we're going to create an array of all payments objects. So let me put right underneath all payment objects. This is an array of payment objects with capital letter, please. Is it? Oh, it's not. All right, so we have an array of payment objects now, which will be used in order to show our populate our list. So to separate by year, what we need to do, we take all payment objects and we set it to empty array, because these payment objects will be called every time there is a refresh. We want to recalculate and we want to empty the array before we start adding other things to it. Then we say we want to basically take our all payments that we get from our core data and separate them by the see how many separate years we have. For example, all the payments for 2021 should be separated in one group, and then all the payments for 2020 should be another group, and 2019, 2022, whatever we have in our core data, they should be separated, grouped into grouped by year. So we will create a dictionary. Let dict, short for dictionary, equals dictionary, and we need to grouping by. And in order to group, we are going to use all payments, which, remember, this is all payments. This is what we get from core data, not all payment objects. And how we want to group them? The way we want to group them is we take a first object of the array, the date, day, day number of year. Remember this extension when we created, I said that we will use it later. Basically, we want to grab out which is the number of the year, and we want to group them by this number. So if there is a 2020, we want to put all the 2020s together, 2021s, all of them together. So we have a dictionary now. What we do with this dictionary, we want to go through each section, each group of that dictionary, and then calculate how much the total was of that year. So we say for key value, because our dictionary now has key value pairs, value in dictionary. So we say var total of this section, we're going to set it to 0 as a double, and then we say for payment in value, because remember our value is array of payments, and for every payment in value we are going to say total plus equals payment dot amount, and this will calculate the total. And once we do, we want to say all payment objects, and we want to create a new one. We say append, and we need to append a payment object, and we create a payment object. We are going to initialize with section name, which will be the key. So use string interpolation here and call it key. Section objects will be our value, and section total will be our total. So command P to see if everything is set. And once we do this, we are going to also sort our all objects, because we don't know how is it sorted now. this actually we need to unwrap. But what we want to use, we want to sort it by section name. In our case, it will be the year. So we want to the newest on top. So we'll say all payment objects, and then we call a sort on it. And we're going to sort by, and again, $0 dot section name should be greater than the second object section name. So this will also sort our array. All right, so separate by year is ready function. So we can go to our payment view. Here, instead of our list, we need to configure it a little bit differently, because we will have a list with sections now. So for our first for each, we are going to use, instead of all payments, we will say view models, view model, all payment objects. And we need to also tell that this has an ID of section name. So the unique thing in our models, payment object models, is the section name. And the variable here will be payment object. Okay, so for each section, what we want to do, so for each payment object we want to create a section. So our section will have a header and a content. So the header is going to be text, and we are going to use some string interpolation here, because we need to put first the key, the section name, and the section total. So let's say payment object dot section name, then we will put a dash and then another string interpolation, and we will say payment object dot section total, where are we, section total dot to currency. So my autocomplete has disappeared, and let's get rid of the content, and we will just put our curly braces and our content will go there. So for each section now we have a section header and amount. So each section, remember, we have an array of payments in that section. So we need another for each here. So we say for each, and we will pass our payment object dot what's called section objects. Section objects. So this is an array of objects. Payment items. So we will say that this is a payment in, and now we can cut this and put it here, and this should be okay. Right, so we have a big list, and in that list we go through for each payment object. All right. For each payment object we create a section with header of that payment object name and the total paid. Then we get an array of payments in that payment object and go through them and create a payment cell. And then we have this on delete. This actually should be now on this section, not on the main for each. So we cut it from here and it goes into our for each here, because we want to delete the payment cell, not the other big for each which has payment objects there. All right, the list style doesn't change, it stays as it is. And now with the delete, actually we are going to make some changes because our delete is working differently for our objects only. But first let's check if this is working. So in order to call this function, we are going to do that on appear. After we fetch all payments, calculate days, we can also say view model dot separate by year. So let's try now. Actually our loan is only for 1 month, and now I understand, but it's okay. Let's see if this works. 2021 we paid 649, which if you add everything is correct. Let's add something in 2020. Let's add, I don't know, 122 in 2020. Now we have another section. In 2020, we paid 122. See, I can delete these things, but my delete will not work, and most probably it will crash my application now because the system doesn't work yet. So yeah, we have this section header, and it separates everything correctly. So let's stop here for this lesson, and in the next lesson we are going to update the delete function so we can delete everything properly. So let's look at our delete item. So what we need to do, first of all, let's go to our model view, and we have already this delete function here. But to get the logic, in order to delete an item from CoreData, we need to get hold of that item. So if we open our model view here, you will say this delete has an index, right? So we have an index, and in our case, let's say this is this section is 0-based array 0, 1, 2. And this section is again 0-based array. This is 0 item. So if I delete now, it's a section, the row ID is 0 that we are deleting the index. Like this one is 2, 0, 1, 2. This is 1, this is 0. So in order to get hold of the item that we want to delete, we need to use the index that we get passed, and also we need to use the payment object, because now our items are inside the payment object array, because our payment object has these section objects that have payments inside. So we need to get access on our payment object and also to access to our index so that we can find the item and pull it out. And this is actually where our equatable will come handy. What's the problem here? Okay, it's unused because we sorted it in the spot. Okay, let's go to our delete function. So we are passing our index, and let's pass also our payment object. So we say payment object of type payment object, and then the index. So now let's go to our payment. If we make command P, this will give us an error because now we have different things, parameters here. So payment object will be this payment object because we have access to it, and will be the index, what we are passing from here. All right, so this command P will fix our issue, and we can jump to this function, and let's see what we need to do. We have a payment object that holds an array of payment items. So we need to grab that array of payment items and find the payment that belongs for that index set. So what we do is, let's make sure that we have an index set. We are doing it already. Then we will say, before we delete something, we will say let payment to delete is equals, because here we were accessing our all payments and we were passing the index, but it's no longer in all payments because all payment has different structure, because all payments have all these 4 payments and we don't know what order there are, and we don't know how they are sorted, so we cannot use the index there. So we will say we want to access our payment objects dot section objects, which is array, and we want to get the index index row. All right, so this will be our object payment to delete, and instead of this we will pass our payment to delete here, and the rest is correct because we are saving it. And once we save it, we want to ask to fetch all payments, because some changes happen in our core data. We want to get a new data, fetch all payments. Then we want to calculate the days, and we want to separate them by year again. So the idea is clear. Let's try if it's working. Let me make this as small as possible. Here we have 3 payments in 2021. Let's delete, I don't know, the 50. The calculation changed, the item was deleted, total changed, and here changed. So let's go back and come here again, and the core data is updated as well. Let's delete the 100. They changed, the total changed, and delete also changed. So now if I delete this one section should disappear altogether. The section is gone. So this is also working as expected. This is updating, very nice. So let's try to actually delete this. So this will disappear because we have no more payments. This disappears as well. Let's add one amount. Let's just say 122, save, and it appears again. So everything is working as we expected, including our delete function. So our next step will be to let's do the bar, and then we will do the edit of our items. All right, for the bar, let's go to our views. We are going to create a new SwiftUI view, and I will call this progress bar. Right, this is a pretty simple view that we are going to do, and our view here, actually we need some parameters to pass to our view. If I go to my Ready application, no screenshot is required. Here you see that we have actually what this is one rectangle background, another rectangle on top of that, and 2 text inside. So we just change the value of rectangle on top to make it bigger or smaller. That's it. So let's here we need to pass 3 values: how much we have paid, how much is left, and another value is actually a number between 0 and 1, because it will be at a double floating point or double digit that will show how much this loading bar should be filled in. So let's say var value is a double. This will be how much the loading bar is full. It will be number between 0 and 1. Then we say var left amount is double. So this is how much left to pay, and var paid amount, this is again double, and this is how much we have already paid. Okay, so first, in order to use our loading bar nicely, we need to access to our geometry reader to get the size of our screen. So let's say here I will say geometry reader, and then we can curly braces, geometry in. This is our variable that we will access. And then we have a z stack. The z stack is, I don't know, the depth, because we want to put one rectangle on top of the other one. And also this text will be on top of the rectangles. So we need a z stack here. So a z stack, and we need to pass alignment. We want leading here. All right. And our z stack will have what? It will have a rectangle behind. Then it will have a text on top of that rectangle. Let's actually ask our preview to start working. The value I will pass 0.5, so our loading bar should be halfway full. Left amount, let's say 1,000, and paid amount, let's say 300. All right, so let's say resume. So we can see what's going on. Our preview here will start working. There is nothing to show yet. So let's create a rectangle. Our rectangle will have a frame of width. Let's put it actually like this. Our width would be geometry dot size dot width, not self. The height, we will say geometry dot size dot height. Alignment we don't need to use, so I will just get rid of that. Then we want to pass some opacity, so we make a little bit of transparency here. Color, we need some foreground color, and let's make this color. And this we're going to initialize a UI color, something from our old days, and we have a color called system teal. Okay, so this is our bar. It doesn't look like a bar, but hang in there. The next thing we need to do is to put a text. The text will have left amount to currency. Font will be caption. Foreground color will be red. And let's add some padding of horizontal. Okay, so this is our text now. And the thing is, now we need another rectangle and another text. But how it's going to work is, let's actually, on our Z stack, I want to add also some corner radius. Let me see where the Z stack finishes. Corner radius of 45, which is nice and round. But right now we don't have a size because we haven't set the size yet. We will set it in our view where we will call this. So our text is on top, but on top of all these, we want to put another rectangle and another text. So for this to work, we have to put these two into a Z stack. So I will cut this and I will put another Z stack, and this one will have alignment of trailing content. We just get rid of that and paste our things. So we will have 3 Z stacks, one big Z stack, another Z stack here with the rectangle and text, so we can put the text on top of the rectangle. So this looks like that. And another one will be this rectangle with the text. So basically I can copy this Z stack, I put it here, but this one alignment I want leading, and the difference here is going to be the size will be dynamic. So depending how much we have paid, because here we have we want to do the background at full length at all times, and the blue rectangle on top will be like a loading bar. It will go more or less. That's why the width here, we want to change it. We don't want to have the standard width of our geometry. So I will say we want to get the mean value from CG float, okay, and we will get self dot value, because our value, well, we don't want to get it like negative numbers there or anything. So we say self dot value, and we will say times geometry dot size dot width, and this is the first part of the float. Our float has 2 points, and the other will be geometry reader geometry dot size dot width, and the height, you see now it's like because we have passed 50%, 0.5 here, it's like half full. If I put like here 0.2, as it dynamically jumps, make it smaller or bigger, right? But we need to change the color here, and instead of this we will say system blue color, so we have different color. And the text, we don't want red here, we want the black. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. This is all we need. And now let's go to our payment view, and instead of this rectangle thing here, we want to use our own loading bar. So let's create one. Get rid of this. I'll say progress bar, and we need to initialize one value. How much is full? So we will access our view model, and we need some calculations here to do. So let me pass 0.3 for now. Left amount, let's go to our view model. We have access to total paid, which is good. Let's create another function that will show the left amount. So here, let's call this total left. It will return double again. And the idea here, how much is left, is how we calculate it is we basically take a total amount. So we say self.loan dot total amount minus how much we have paid. We have access to that total paid. So this will tell us how much is left. Then while we are here, let's also write another function that will calculate the progress value. Remember, progress should be between 0 and 1. We cannot take thousands and put in there. So we say func progress value, and this is going to return a double. And it also will take a, actually we say a return, and it will not take anything. We say a return, and we need total paid divided by our self.loan loan dot, and we need the total amount. So how much we paid divided by total amount will give us a number between 0 and 1 that we can actually use in order to get this loading bar proper value. So let's go back to our payment view, and here value we will say view model dot progress value. Left amount we say view model and total left, and the paid we say view model, not view model dot paid total paid. Okay, and we need to give this some kind of frame, because remember our view doesn't know how big it is. So say frame, and I'm going to give it a height only, because it knows that it has to go all the way of our size. And let's put it 20 points here. Sorry. And also we want to put some padding, horizontal. So let's try this. This is our ready application. Wait for it. All right, so you can see our loading bar is working. And let me actually compare the colors with the red one. See, this blue is much darker. So when we actually copy our progress bar, we didn't remove the opacity. If we remove it and resume, it should be much better color. Should be like really blue. Yeah. That's it, I guess. Let's run again. And it looks much better. You can play with the colors if you want to, or you can play with the size. Let me go here. Let's make it, I don't know, maybe 30 points. Let's see if it looks better. I don't know, maybe 25 will be something in between better. So basically we have one bar underneath with the left amount, one bar at the top with the paid amount. There is a mistake here. We are passing where is the data? Left amount. So the second one should be paid amount. See, it's when you make copy and paste, there is always something comes back to bite you. So now we have paid amount 122. This is all we paid, and the left amount from 1000. Let's try to add, I don't know, 200. Save. Not 20. Let's add 200 this time properly. Save. So 200. Now we have our loading bar automatically working. 342 paid. Let's add 1000, because our total loan was 1000. Now our amount is way bigger than we took. So we paid 1342, but our bar doesn't get out of its view. It stays there. And if we delete everything, let me delete the 1000 so we get less, and we delete everything, it's just our other paid is 0. So everything is working properly here. Let's put 500 and we should be in the middle. All right, so loading bar handled as well. Everything is set nicely. Last thing we need to do is to add some editing function on our payment. The idea for our delete, for edit, how it's going to work is when we click on this item, not on the row, pay attention, because when there is we call on top, it's on top of the cell itself, and our cell is this area, not all the line, because it's empty something there. So when we click here, we are going to have this on top gesture, and we're going to call some we're going to call first to show our add item view, and also we want to take the item that we clicked and pass it to our edit item. So in our payment cell view, what we need to do is to create dot on top gesture. And what we want to happen on top gesture, we want to say view model dot is navigation active, navigation link equals to true. And remember, when we switch this navigation link, our hidden background navigation link operates, and it shows add item view. So if I click now, I should see our add item view, but we are not passing any payment yet. So if I click, it takes me to our add item view. So what we want to do here, first, pass payment that we want to edit, so this view can populate properly. Second, change the title here from add to edit, and that's it. And when we click save, instead of creating a new object with this data, we want to first check if we are in editing mode, then we want to edit the item. If we are in add item mode, then we want to create a new item. Yeah. So let's go to our view model, and here we need to have where are we? In our payment view, view model. Sorry, we're in the wrong place. In our payment view model, we need to add another variable. Let's copy this, and it's going to be, of course, published, and let's call this selected payment of type payment, not payment object, payment, but it's an optional. So there may be no selected payment because nobody wants to edit anything. Now this is very important. It should be optional. Okay, so we have now access to this selected payment. Let's go to our payment view, and here when we tap, we want to set also that to tell to our payment model that we have selected some payment. So let's say view model selected payment is equals to this payment here that we just tap on it. So we say payment, and it won't change anything because our add item view doesn't know anything about being also an option to edit something. So how we are going to transfer this payment that we want to edit into our add item view? Let's go to our add item model, and here I will pass a published var and call this payment. It's a type of payment, and it's also an optional because we will show our add item view in two cases. First, to add a new item, in that case this will be nil, or to edit an item, in that case this will have an item that we want to edit. And here our initializer will not complain, but we need to give our initializer an option to pass the item. So let's say payment to edit, and we pass a payment here. It's a payment of type payment, and it's an optional, very important. So we can say self dot payment is equals to payment that we pass. All right, and now our Xcode, if we make command P, will complain that we are not passing our payment. Let's add it here. So our add item view model, when we initialize, when in our navigation, we need to pass a payment. And now in our view model, we have this selected payment, which is optional, and we can pass it. So if we have selected something, we will pass it here. If we didn't select something, we don't bother, because we will pass a nil there. And our add payment view model knows that this may be an optional, and it's okay. We will put a nil here. There is no issue there. All right. So very simple. We pass this information to our payment. Now in our add payment, how do we know if we have to show something in our model to edit or with something new? So let's add a, where are we? On our form. When our form finishes, I will put on appear, and we want to check something on appear. What we want to check, we ask our view model to set up view, set up actually editing. And of course, there is no such function. So let's go and create one. Let's put it here. All right. So the error should go away. And in our setup editing view, what we need to do is to check if we have a payment, because this function will be called no matter why we came here, to create a new item or to edit an item. So let's say if payment is nil, not equals nil, sorry. So we have a payment, then we want to say amount is equals to, remember the amount here is a string, and our payment has total the payment amount, which is double. So let's create string interpolation, and we say payment, and we can force unwrap this because we just checked it's not nil, and we can pass an amount here, and the date will be equals to our payment, force unwrap it, date. Or if it's an if we don't find anything, we just put a current date here. All right, so this is our setup to edit. Let's see if this works. We have a payment of 500. If I click on add, I don't see anything here because we are adding. If I click on 500, I see 500 here, which is good. June 10 was the added date, but we have one bug here. If I want to add something else, it shows me the 500 here. So what happens is that when we click on this thing on our payment view, we go ahead, where is it? We says that selected payment is payment. All right, we put it in our selected payment, and now our model has a selected payment. So it's the 500 guy. And even if we click on the plus button and we move to add something, you remember we are passing this payment anyway. It may be a nil or it may have a value. So now it always has a value. So we need some kind of way to tell, listen, when we come back, we don't want you to keep the selected payment forever. Every time on appear, set it to nil. So we say view model dot selected payment is equals to nil. So every time our payment loads, we want to set it to nil, and now it should work properly. select 500. All right, it's here. Add is not here because every time we come back, it sets it to be nil. All right. So let's fix this to make it edit payment. So what we are going to do is add payment. Remember, we have like declarative UI. What it means is let's ask our view model to give us the what's his name, the payment. And if this payment is not nil, then based on that we can say add payment or not equals nil. We will say edit payment. Or add payment. Let's try again. So we go to add payment. We go to edit, it says edit payment. Very, very cool. Now, if I click add, if I click save, sorry, this will create a new item. So we need to also distinguish this. When we click on save button, what happens? Our model calls the function create new payment. We don't want that. We don't want to create a new payment every time. What we want to do is to say another function. Let's call it the function save payment. This function doesn't care what it saves, it just saves. So now if we go back here, instead of create new payment, we say save payment. All right. And now the save payment function will decide we want to create new payment or we want to edit, oh, sorry, not edit, update payment. You see where we're going here? Update payment. So now in our save payment, our button clicks, save payment is called. So we come save payment, please tell us what to do. It says, okay, do we have a payment? So if payment is not equals to nil, all right, do you have a payment? Yes, we do. All right, let's go and update it. If you don't have, else, you create a new one. Create new payment, as simple as that. So update new payment, create new payment, everything is set, working properly, there is nothing to play around. Update payment, we are missing a curly brace here. What we need to do to update payment? Well, this is even simpler. We don't have to create a lot of things. We have already our payment force unwrap. Remember, we are calling this only when it's not nil. And we need to set two things, amount and the date. So we say amount is equals to double because our amount is string, or if fails to get a double, set it 0, and payment dot date is equals to the date. That's it. Don't forget to save. Copy this line here, paste it here, and we're good to go. But of course, it's a good idea to test. So let's run a test. We have 500. Let's make it, I don't know, 700. Save. We have 700. June 10. I don't know. Let's change it to June 8. Let's save it. It says June 8. Very good. Let's create a new one of 200. So our loan is almost paid now. 900 paid, 100 left, and both of them is here. We update this one, 200. Let's make it to 500. Save. It's working. Perfect. So we have my first loan. We can create loan. We can create payments. So everything is there. Our application is ready. One last thing we are missing is right now our application doesn't save to iCloud. It saves only locally on the device. And the way you can check this, if you are running on simulator, obviously, you need to log into your account on simulator as well. So let's say you have two simulators and you want to test that. You go to settings, sign in to your iPhone and use here your Apple ID. You sign in here, and the same thing should happen on the other simulator. You should sign in on the same account and run the same application on both simulators or on your device, doesn't matter. As long as you are on a same Apple ID, this would work. And now to make the magic happen of the saving to to iCloud, we need to go to our, you select your application name, whatever you called it, to go to signing capabilities. Make sure here automatic management is ticked. And if it is, click on plus capabilities. What we need here is iCloud. You can search iCloud. And here you need to create these containers. See, it shows me some containers that I have created previously for different projects. But for this, we are going to create a new one. Make sure you click on a service that you want the CloudKit. Now it gives you an option to create a new container. Click on plus, and the container name, usually it's good idea to give your application name. No spaces, only the application name. Don't put any space between the So mine is loan CD. All right, and click OK. It will take some time to check everything, and it will be red. Don't worry about this. And also it automatically adds push notification for us, but this is not all we need. The reason we need push notification because application wants to receive silent push, what it's called, to get information from our iCloud. Let's say you have two devices running the same application. You add a loan on one. It needs to update the other one, so it sends the push notification, which is called silent push. And in order to receive this, we need these background modes. Double tap on it. And now you have these background modes. And what we want to do is this remote notification to be ticked. All right. And you will see that your application now has this new info thing added here with some key value pairs. This is what happens when we add all these things to our application. So this part is set and there is nothing else to do there. What we need to do is go to our persistence. Where is it hiding? CoreData persistence. And here we are going to set few things in order to run. Remember this we set here? Just make sure that yours says CloudKit in the NS persistent container if you didn't do the tick when we created the application to use CloudKit. If it doesn't, just put the CloudKit there. And now we remove this. We will say that our container dot, actually we don't need the container, we have access to our view context. View context dot automatically merge changes from parent, and our parent is, in our case, is Mr. iCloud. We said true. We want to merge it. And then we want to set the policy. So there are two ways. The first one, whatever is in the iCloud is like a source of truth. So please take this as the correct value. And if there is any changes which doesn't match on our local data, we have to update that. Or you tell that that the merge that this whatever is on the device is the correct thing. So we have to keep this one. So we say view context dot merge policy is equals, and once I start typing ns merge by ns merge by property store trump merge policy or property object trump policy, and you can read the difference on top what each one does. we are going to use the object merge policy, not the store. All right. And yeah, that's it. With these 2 lines and obviously this CloudKit keyword here, everything we have will be saved in our CloudKit, so that you, in case if you lost your device, you change your device, you have multiple devices, everything will be synchronized between the devices. One thing to note though, if you are testing it on a simulator, you need to, it doesn't refresh automatically. Let's say I am in the application here, where is it? And if I add a loan, it doesn't automatically appear on the other one. You need to like just do this, like close and reopen the application, and it kind of refreshes. But if you are using a real device, it will automatically update the view. You don't have to do any refresh. All right, so yeah, this was it. We used the new latest SwiftUI 3 on iOS 15 with our latest Xcode 13 beta in order to create a simple loan tracker application, which is actually kind of useful. I personally myself use it every month. When I pay my loans, I just add, and it keeps track of all your loans. I'm sure every one of us nowadays have a loan here and there. So yeah, it's a good idea to keep track. And I hope you learn how to pass data around SwiftUI, and also how to use our CoreData and CloudKit in order to create applications with it. Right, I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot. If you like the course, or if you are watching this on YouTube, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and stay tuned for more cool courses to come soon. Bye bye.